What if I told you that discipline could feel good? Not just the result, not just the check mark on your to-do list, but the act itself. What if the very things you dread doing, the things that feel like climbing a mountain before you've even had your morning coffee, waking up early, hitting the gym, tackling that big project, could become the things you actually look forward to? Imagine for a moment, not just tolerating your morning run, but craving the feeling of the cool air and the rhythm of your feet on the pavement. Imagine sitting down to work on that daunting report and feeling a sense of calm, focused energy, a quiet confidence that you have what it takes. It sounds like a fantasy, right? A far-off dream reserved for the ultra-successful, the superhuman, the people who seem to be built differently from the rest of us. For decades, we've all been sold the same story. It's a story whispered from the pages of countless self-help books, shouted from the stages of motivational seminars, and plastered across inspirational posters. It's the idea that success is built on a foundation of grueling self-control and relentless brute force willpower. We believe we just need more motivation. We tell ourselves that the only thing standing between us and our goals is a mysterious, finite resource that we just don't have enough of. We hold on to the hope that one day we'll wake up and, like a switch has been flipped, we'll be filled with an endless supply of it, ready to conquer the world. But that day never seems to arrive. Instead, we find ourselves trapped, feeling like failures, stuck in a demoralizing cycle of starting, stopping, and starting again, never quite reaching our goals. We make promises on Sunday night, only to break them by Tuesday morning. This constant battle is exhausting. It's more than just tiring. It's a thief. It steals our energy, our confidence, and our belief in our own potential. Each time we fail to follow through, it chips away at our self-worth, leaving us feeling less capable than before. Imagine this all too common scene. It's 6 a.m. Your alarm blares, a harsh, unwelcome intrusion, shaking you from a deep sleep. Your first thought isn't about the amazing day ahead, or the opportunities waiting for you. It's an instant, sinking wave of dread, a physical weight that settles in your chest. You promised yourself last night. You were so sure. You'd start that new morning routine, a workout to get your blood pumping, some reading to sharpen your mind, maybe even 5 minutes of meditation to find your center. But the warmth of your bed feels like a magnetic force, a comforting sanctuary pulling you back under the covers. It feels safe, it feels easy. And then the inner negotiation begins. Your brain, in a desperate attempt to protect you from discomfort, starts offering a flood of perfectly logical excuses. Just 5 more minutes. You deserve it. You can always do it tomorrow, when you have more energy. You're too tired today. You won't have a good workout anyway. Sleep is important for recovery, right? This is technically healthy. Sound familiar? Of course it does. This is a universal human experience. This is the precise moment where motivation dies. It's a fragile flame, easily extinguished by the slightest breeze of discomfort. And in that moment, the gap between who you want to be, the disciplined, energetic, accomplished person, and what you actually do, hitting snooze, feels like a giant, uncrossable chasm. But here is the most important thing I will tell you today. The problem isn't you. Let me repeat that. The problem is not you. It's not a lack of willpower. It is not a fundamental character flaw. You are not lazy or broken or incapable. The problem is the strategy. The entire approach is flawed from the ground up. We've been taught to fight against our own brains, to treat our minds like an adversary that must be conquered. We try to use force to get things done, to push that boulder up the hill through sheer effort alone. But our brains are not designed for that kind of conflict. They are ancient, powerful survival machines, wired for something much simpler, much more fundamental: to seek pleasure and avoid pain. This is the prime directive of your brain. It's called the pleasure principle, and it governs almost everything you do, whether you realize it or not. When you try to force yourself to do something hard, like getting out of a warm bed into a cold room or starting a complex work assignment, your brain registers that as immediate pain. It's a threat. Meanwhile, the potential reward, being fit, getting a promotion, feeling accomplished, is abstract. It's far off in the future. Your brain can't feel it, taste it, or touch it right now. So naturally, your brain resists. It chooses the immediate pleasure of the warm bed over the distant, uncertain pleasure of achieving a goal. It chooses the immediate relief of procrastination over the immediate pain of starting a difficult task. It's not being lazy, it's just doing its job. It's a deeply ingrained survival mechanism, protecting you from what it perceives as an immediate threat to your comfort and energy reserves. Your brain is trying to keep you safe. The secret, then, isn't to fight this powerful, ancient instinct. That's a battle you will lose most of the time. The secret is to work with it, to become a partner with your brain, not its warden. So, the big idea we're going to explore together, the fundamental shift in perspective that will change everything, is this. You can train your brain to enjoy the process of discipline, not just the outcome. You can teach it to associate effort with pleasure. Instead of forcing behavior through sheer willpower, we're going to strategically and systematically rewire your internal reward system. We'll use the brain's own rules to our advantage. We'll make the effort itself feel good. This isn't about temporary motivation hacks, life-changing epiphanies, or empty motivational quotes that fade the moment you close the app. This is not another just do it lecture. This is about building a sustainable, reliable system. A system where the hard work becomes its own reward, generating its own momentum. Because when your brain starts to associate discipline with positive feelings, everything changes. The internal struggle disappears. The negotiation in your head goes silent. And in its place, you find a steady, reliable, internal drive that comes from within. A drive that doesn't depend on your mood or how much sleep you got. A drive that makes consistency feel not just possible, but effortless. So, how do we bridge the gap between the person we are and the person we want to become? How do we make discipline not just bearable, but something we actively look forward to? To make this transformation happen, we're going to use a powerful framework, a mental model that operates in perfect harmony with your brain's core wiring. This isn't about mustering more willpower or fighting against your own nature. It's a system that top performers and behavioral scientists use to build unbreakable habits. They understand that motivation is fleeting, but a well-designed system is forever. This is the secret architecture behind consistent, high-level achievement. It's called the hook story reward loop. Think of it as a user manual for your own mind. This three-part structure doesn't just nudge you. It hijacks your brain's ancient programming and makes discipline feel less like a chore and more like a game you want to win. It makes it addictive. Let's break down each component. First, we need a hook. This is the initial promise or trigger that grabs your attention. It's a shiny object that says, "Hey, there's something good over here." It creates a specific, tangible itch your brain wants to scratch and pulls you into action. The hook isn't the task itself. It's the cue that initiates the desire to act. For a morning run, the hook isn't the thought of running 5 miles. It's the simple, non-threatening act of putting on your running shoes. For studying, it's not the idea of mastering a whole chapter. It's opening the textbook to the correct page and reading the first sentence. For a work project, it's opening the document and writing a single headline. These are external hooks, environmental triggers you design. Internal hooks work too. A feeling of restlessness can be a hook to meditate. A moment of confusion can be a hook to open your notes and review. The key is to make the hook so small, so effortless, that your brain doesn't have time to argue. It just acts. Next, story. This is where the real magic begins. You need to reframe the narrative your brain tells about the task. Right now, for the things you procrastinate on, that story is probably one of struggle, effort, boredom, or even failure. We're going to consciously choose to change that. Instead of, "I have to study for 3 hours," the story becomes, "I'm a scholar, and for the next 25 minutes, I'm going on a mission to understand one new concept." Instead of, "I have to go to the gym and exhaust myself," the story is, "I'm an athlete building strength, and today's goal is to show up and move my body for 20 minutes. Tell a new story of progress, of tiny wins, of personal identity. Your brain doesn't just respond to what you do, it responds to what you believe about what you do. When you adopt the identity of a runner, writer, or lifelong learner, each action becomes a vote for that identity, making it easier to perform the next time. Craft internal narratives that make the process feel meaningful and turn mundane chores into a hero's journey. You're not just cleaning the kitchen, you are restoring order to your environment to create a space for peace and clarity. This isn't just self-talk, it's strategic reframing that changes your entire emotional experience of the task. Finally, reward. The immediate, tangible hit of satisfaction that closes the loop and tells your brain, that was worth it. Remember this. This is the crucial step that so many people get wrong. The reward must be immediate. A simple internal, yes, that was good, or a physical fist pump can be enough. It's a moment of self-acknowledgement that says, let's do it again. The classic mistake is waiting for the long-term reward, like losing 20 pounds, finishing the entire book, or getting the promotion. From your brain's perspective, that's too far away to motivate today's action. The connection is too weak. Your brain operates on an immediate return on investment basis. It needs the payoff now. So, you must create instant micro-rewards that flood your brain with a little hit of dopamine right after the act. Finished a 25-minute study block? Reward, 5 minutes of your favorite music. Went for that run? Reward, a delicious, healthy smoothie that you genuinely enjoy. Wrote 500 words? Reward, stand up, stretch, and look out the window for 2 minutes, feeling proud. This immediate feedback solidifies the habit loop. It trains your brain to associate the effort with pleasure, and eventually your brain will start to crave the activity itself because it anticipates the reward. The process becomes the prize. So, to recap the loop, a simple hook to start the action without resistance, a compelling story to give the action meaning and identity, and an immediate reward to make your brain want to do it again. Hook, story, reward. Over the next few minutes, we'll dive into practical brain-based tactics you can use today to implement this loop in your own life. First, we'll cover the science of why your brain resists discipline in the first place. Then we'll explore 7 specific brain hacks to make it feel good. We'll cover habit stacking, the power of tiny wins, designing dopamine-friendly cues, and how to bundle pleasure with difficult tasks. We'll even show you how to gamify the entire process to keep it fun and engaging for the long term. By the end of this journey, you won't need to hunt for motivation anymore. You'll have a reliable, repeatable system for building enjoyable discipline from the ground up. Table of Contents. Part 2, Act 1, Why Discipline Feels Like Pain. Section 1, The Brain's Built-in Resistance Program. Section 2, The Dopamine Deficit, Why Future Rewards Fail. Section 3, The Pain of Effort and the Allure of Comfort. Section 4, A Personal Struggle with the Resistance. So, why does sticking to a plan feel like you're swimming against a powerful invisible current? You know what you need to do. The goal is clear, the path is laid out. Yet, every step forward feels like a monumental effort, a struggle against a force that wants to pull you back to the comfort of inaction. It's a frustrating, often demoralizing experience. You might even start to question your own character, your own strength. Why is this so hard for me, you ask? Am I just lazy? Am I not built for this? The good news is, you're not broken. You're not lazy. You're human. The answer to this profound struggle lies deep within the very architecture of your brain, a complex and ancient biological machine. It's not a flaw in your personality, it's a feature of your neurology, a conflict that has been raging inside the human mind for millennia. To understand this conflict is to gain the upper hand. To make this simple, think of your brain as having 2 powerful competing systems, 2 voices constantly vying for control. First, there's the ancient primal part. Let's call it the lizard brain. This isn't just a catchy name. It refers to your limbic system, which includes key structures like the amygdala, your threat detector, and the nucleus accumbens, the heart of your reward circuit. This system is a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering, a survival machine that has been ruthlessly fine-tuned over millions of years for one primary purpose: to keep you alive right now. Its entire operating system is based on a simple, brutal calculus. Seek immediate pleasure, and avoid immediate pain or effort. It's the reason you crave sugar, fat, and salt, high-energy foods that were scarce for our ancestors. It's the reason you flinch from a hot stove or a sudden loud noise. It's the reason that, after a long day, collapsing on the sofa feels like the most logical decision in the world. This part of your brain has absolutely no concept of the future. It doesn't care about your 5-year plan, your dream of learning a new language, or your New Year's resolutions. The future is an abstract concept it cannot process. It only cares about the immediate sensory input of right now. So when you sit down to do something difficult, something that requires focus and delayed gratification, like writing a report, studying for an exam, or even meditating, your lizard brain doesn't see a stepping stone to a better future. Instead, it sounds a deafening internal alarm. It perceives these difficult tasks as a direct threat, a form of pain. Why? Because they demand something the lizard brain is programmed to avoid at all costs: the expenditure of energy without an immediate, tangible reward. The effort required feels like a physical burden. The mental strain of focusing feels like an attack. The boredom of repetitive practice feels like a state of deprivation. To your primal brain, this is all just pain, plain and simple. And its reaction is not a conscious choice. It's a deep, powerful, and immediate instinct. It's the same reflex that pulls your hand from a fire. Your brain is trying to save you from the pain of the difficult task. This primitive system is obsessed with conserving energy. For our ancestors, wasting energy could mean death. So when you choose discipline, when you choose to expend energy on a task with no immediate payoff, you are directly violating your brain's most fundamental directive. But of course, that's not the whole story. On the other side of this internal battle, you have the marvel of human evolution, the prefrontal cortex. This is the CEO of your brain, the thinking brain. This is the seat of your higher consciousness. It's where logic, reason, long-term planning, and crucially, self-control reside. It's the part of you that can simulate the future, weigh consequences, and override impulsive behavior. Your thinking brain is the one that sets ambitious goals. It fully understands the long-term benefits of going to the gym, even when you're sore. It comprehends the compound interest of eating healthy, even when that donut is calling your name. It's the voice of your best self, the architect of your future, but it has a critical weakness. Compared to the ancient, efficient lizard brain, the thinking brain is the new kid on the block. It's slower, more deliberate, and incredibly energy-hungry. It consumes a massive amount of glucose and oxygen. Self-control is not an infinite resource. It's a cognitive function that gets depleted, just like a muscle. So what happens when you're tired after a long day of work? What happens when you're stressed about a deadline? Or when you're emotionally drained from an argument? The connection to your thinking brain weakens. Its energy reserves are low. And into that power vacuum steps the loud, powerful, and always-on lizard brain. It doesn't get tired, it doesn't get stressed, it just waits for its opportunity, and then it takes over. And when it's in charge, it doesn't whisper suggestions. It screams for comfort. It screams for ease. It screams for the instant gratification of sugar, distraction, and rest. It demands you follow the path of least resistance, right now. This internal conflict is precisely why discipline feels like pain. It's not a metaphor. It's a literal neurological battle for control happening inside your head. The pain is the feeling of your prefrontal cortex burning precious energy to suppress the powerful primal urges of your limbic system. Every time you choose the difficult path, you are actively using your logical modern brain to override an ancient powerful system that has ensured our survival for eons. Every time you force yourself to go to the gym, to write that chapter, to resist that temptation, you are fighting millions of years of evolutionary programming that is screaming at you to stop. This is why relying on willpower alone is a losing strategy. It's fundamentally unreliable, because it's an energy-draining resource pitted against a system that never runs out of steam. It's like trying to hold back a tidal wave with a bucket. You might succeed for a moment, maybe even an hour, but eventually the wave will win. The brain's primal resistance is simply too strong, too persistent, and too efficient to fight head-on, day after day, you will burn out, you will deplete your reserves, and you will end up right back where you started, feeling defeated. But what if the goal isn't to fight harder? What if the goal is to fight smarter? Subscribe if you want powerful mental strategies to build consistency and self-control. Like this video, if you're done relying on motivation, save it and start applying it today. Turn on notifications for more brain hacks that actually work.